There we
There
go.
we
All right.
are.
Awesome. Well, hey, guys, welcome to episode 69 of the Drag Driver Pete Show. And as you can see, you're not going to look at my beautiful face tonight. You're going to look out at drag racing that was happening. I don't know what they're checking on right now because I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to Eric White, the co-host there. Eric, let's hit the intro video and then get into this wild show we got going on tonight.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
All right, guys. Well, my name is Mike Narks. I am the host of the Drag Driver Pete Show and the Drag Driver Pete News that happens live on Saturday mornings. And as you can tell, I'm not in the typical podcast room with a nice backdrop. We're actually in the tower with some media friends here, doing hard work there. High speed media in here working hard. It's been crazy. We're at Thunder Valley. We're halfway through the Rocky Mountain Race Week trip, but we're going to talk about all of that right after Eric introduces himself and we get into the show.
All right, I am Eric White. I am the co-host of both the show and the news. Going through a lot of photos. I've been editing a lot of photos the past week
Yep.
between Six Summer and then what you've been sending over from Rocky Mountain Race Week. We've been posting a lot of photos to Drag Driver Pete, which is always fun.
Yeah, it's been awesome. You've been working diligently at home on albums and all that kind of stuff. And then I've probably taken 400 or 500 real style vertical videos that are going to be dropping. I drop them as often as I can, but I'm trying to spread them out across all the platforms. And man, it is
Oh,
pandemonium. I'll just
a
tell you
lot
this.
of work.
Yeah, it's I was telling some guys earlier, I'm on about 6 hours of sleep since Sunday morning. So it's been pretty intense the last 2 days. Last night didn't get to sleep till almost 5 a.m. and that's the way it goes. You drive a couple hours. Rocky Mountain is one of the coolest events because they race at night, and we were talking about this yesterday. I think actually with James about how the day the racing gets better as the day moves on instead of kind of the other events like drag week or sick week, and you race in the morning and that's typically when the air is the best. But if you miss that window or make a mistake, then you're making a pass in the heat of the day. Well, like we'll talk about with Brian Goldstone, they've made two passes at midnight basically this week so far, and that's been the passes they've been able to turn in. So kind of
Yeah,
awesome. I'm going
they've
to
had
turn the
a
camera back around. So
they've had a rough week. It seems like.
oh, it's been pretty intense. They of course hit an oil pan on one of the craziest. I don't even know what you call this thing. Like it wasn't really like a pothole. It was almost like the ground was raised in the middle of the car and literally just destroyed their oil pan.
Yeah.
Luckily, they coasted in. They are a dry sump setup, so it just kept pumping oil through it and just dumping it out the bottom. Obviously that's not ideal, but it did keep oil in the engine, which is great. And then so they fixed that. They had no sleep as they pull into that gas station. They work all day. So that's literally, they were up 36, 38 hours doing that. And then the same thing last night, obviously didn't have any damage. They replaced an alternator, but they were up for another, 22 hours before they got any sleep. So those
Yeah,
guys are
and this
taking
is
it pretty tough.
Yeah, and this is just coming off of Six Summer as well. So it's not like,
Yeah.
they've had a bunch of time off. They went from one event, a couple days at home, and back to another event.
Are people tearing stuff up? Oh no, they're just doing another burnout. Okay, just man, again, pulled into the track about an hour and a half ago, and have literally sat in the room here, just watching burnouts and trying to get ready for the show tonight. But yeah, Goldstone and Brian Robbins have had a hard time of this event, and I always talked with them a whole lot about how I felt like they would enjoy the night racing because the temps get cooler. It's a little easier. You're driving towards the racetrack every day, and then every night they've left at like 2 a.m. They left the racetracks and been trying to drive at night, and then something happens. So
Yeah.
yeah, they were at Bucky's last night at like 3 a.m. or at 4 a.m. after having to put an alternator in on the side of the road.
Yeah. Definitely rough.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people. The heat is really starting to take its toll on a lot of these cars. I feel like, I mean, there's cars that are dropping out quite a bit. We saw some Jason Hurley dropped out the other night or yesterday due to a camshaft or lifter failure,
Yep.
and he didn't blame it on the oil, obviously, but he said that he saw oil temps higher than he'd ever seen in that car, and he's done with that engine, now 6 Dragon drives with it,
Hmm.
and has never not finished an event with it. And he's won the previous 3 Rocky Mountain Race Week events with that car, so it was hard for him to make that decision. But he's got the Havlicks deal coming up in a couple weeks, and then he's got 2.0 right behind that. So he didn't need to destroy that engine and then go into trying to fix it in the 6 weeks we have before the Havlicks deal.
Right.
Yeah, so that was pretty intense, but he said 185-degree oil temps for him, which was the highest he had seen. And so that made me start asking other racers what they had seen, and several of them said 220s to 230s oil temperature.
Wow.
Pretty
Yeah,
intense.
that's definitely wild there.
Yeah. I talked to Steve Willingham. He said that he has a huge oil cooler and a huge fan on it, and he didn't see any more than 185. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, how do you prepare for this type of temperature? Typically, if you were at home and you're not going to get your drag and drive race car out unless there's a reason to in this kind of heat. You're just not going to do that. And
Yeah.
I don't know how you prepare for this kind of stuff, but there's been a lot of guys that have survived. I think we're looking at still, more than 250 cars in competition.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to hit the summit ad read? We'll kind of start
Yeah,
our normal show before we get too
yeah.
far in depth.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do that. Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968 as a one-man operation and is now the world's speed shop with 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions. Fueling your passions, they save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, or on the On All Cylinders podcast for more automotive discussions. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. And again, you can find everything summitracing.com.
That's right. Well, tell us a little bit about this photo here.
Oh man, listen. So if you're in Arlington or going to be anywhere close, you've got to stop by the store. The Arlington location is one of the coolest stores that's in there. So I met Red Hat Scotty there. He was going to look at some of the clearance section store, whatever you call that thing, in the back, or scratch and dent, whatever. And so I thought, man, I'll just creep around in here and look. I didn't buy anything, but I should have. There was a lot of stuff there that was calling my name. Some of the Summit turbos, I think I need to maybe run twins on the old truck instead of just a big single.
There you go.
But great
Yeah, it
store.
was pretty cool. It looks like a fun place to hang out for sure.
Yeah, I think they have I think it's set on like 65 degrees in there for when hot rodders are coming through there. They enjoy that AC.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then before we get too far, again, as we always say, thank you guys, all the race car friends. I know a lot of them are probably at Rocky Mountain Race Week, so they're probably not able to watch tonight, but hopefully listen on the podcast, maybe on the drive to the next track or however.
Hmm.
And then, of course, we got to thank the sponsor, Summit Racing, Driven Racing Oil, Molly Motorsports, Car Change 3D, Howard's Cam, Performable Transmission, Sweet Patina Racing Junk, and WAF Racing, which wasn't on this picture, which we'll get to talk to a little bit later tonight.
Hmm. Yep, I'm excited. And then Power Tube, where we're going to take this and edit it down and move it over.
Yep.
It looks like they've got maybe some junior street racers up here. Again, the only reason I have the camera flipped around there is because it's a way better view than you guys looking at me. And Rocky Mountain's one of the only events that runs a junior street program. So these are 13 to 16-year-olds making passes in these cars with their parents or whoever's in the passenger seat there going down with them. But they can't run any faster than 9.0 in the eighth. And a lot of these cars run nines in the quarter mile.
Nice.
Kind of intense there.
Yeah. So do you have any notes on kind of who's leading classes or anything at this point so far?
Yep. So currently, Goldstone, obviously, overall, he is the quickest of the day. And then I've got the most recent stuff pulled up. So we'll have a few updates, but I do want to talk about the Alan and Nicole Ledesma Mach E Mustang, that whole EV scenario here. They're husband and wife, and they're leading the class. So that's kind of cool to me.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
wild.
yeah, so they're out here making passes tonight. We've seen them. They were at the last route stop. I didn't get a chance to go around to the into the pits before I came up to the tower, but definitely I know they're here because he hasn't messaged me or anything like that. But I wrote an article this morning talking about kind of why they, what they look for in that car, what they're doing throughout the week. Looking for charging stations and all of that. So that's kind of a neat one. And they're, of course, as a husband and wife leading the 13.0 index, that's one of the most highly contested classes that you can probably even attempt to look at. And 29 cars in that class. Alex Rops, I think, last night was
Yep.
swapping an engine trying to stay in the event, but sadly could not get it done. So, if folks pull up the results page on RockyMountainRaceweek.com, they'll see him ahead of them, but that's not the case, obviously, because we're looking for averages. So the far right number is what matters.
And I think
Yes,
I think Holly wasn't going to continue, but I think he convinced her to go ahead and continue on the event. But I think I saw she was also having some troubles. Maybe it was today.
oh man, yeah, we didn't see a lot of racers along the road, broke down or anything like that. So we were trying to talk to folks. All the only folks we talked to were, people at the route stops or something like that, and everybody was doing good. So that's what we saw there.
Yeah, that's cool. All right.
Yep.
What about some other class leaders?
Yeah. So Derek Keeler, I want to give a big shout out to him. He is second place in the 12.0 index. Uh, he's second place with a 12.0275. Like that's how tight that class is. And then Nicholas Roberts is leading that class. Listen to these times: 12.006 on Sunday and a 12.000 perfect pass on at the Motorplex yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, pretty intense. That's going to be a hard car to beat.
I did see
12.03 is his average right now.
yeah, and that's the 12.0 index class.
Yep.
Yeah, I did see, which is the class that Luke's running in, right? And I saw
Yeah.
he had posted today that he ran a 12.024, and
Yeah.
he said that it's so competitive that he's like 14 still.
Yeah, he's way down the list. Our friend Greg Jones is, a guy we follow a lot with a lot of the race and stuff. He ran a 12.001 yesterday, and that
Oh
that put
wow.
him in. He's in fifth place with a 12.097 from the day before. So, if he had been somewhere in the 40s or something like that, or you know, typical with Greg, like in the 30s, he'd have moved up several spots with that 001. But that just means he's getting the car together and ready. But that puts him at a 12.049 average for the
Yeah.
week so far.
And I think I saw maybe Stony had posted they were looking for some kind of part. I can't remember offhand what it was, but I think they got the part they were looking for and were able to continue on, right?
Yep, yep. They are on the road, and that makes me think of the guys Jesse Harris and Robert with Bernie. The new, that was the
Oh,
diesel
yep.
rat rod pickup is now twin turbo LS.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was kind of a surprise. I wasn't expecting to see that.
yeah. I don't think he was expecting it to be here either, and they're paying for it. Sadly, it took them like 30 something hours to go the 300 miles because in the beginning they could only drive 3 to 17 miles at a time.
Oh
So they
no.
drove more than 300 miles at, by the end of it, they had bought a pump sprayer that they could spray on the radiator, and that would get them 50 miles because the pump sprayer would run out of water at that time.
That's
Crazy.
wild.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
tough.
Speed Mini here said Greg Jones needed a tensioner. That's what it was.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that guy is I'm sure they found that pretty easy.
Yeah. I mean, typical LS or a standard LS tensioner should have been easy to come by.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some of the other classes we haven't covered yet?
So right now I'm watching the 9.0 index class. It's very competitive. Top 3 are 9.0. Like the number 3, Brian Walton, is 9.04 right now. That class record is a 9.087 average, so we have an opportunity to beat that record. If these guys can keep going on. The current leader in that class is Jeremy Wilson in a 72 Nova with a 9.009 average.
Wow.
Yeah, we've never seen that class be that competitive. Usually, that class is 920s, 940s, things like that, just because, I mean, that's a really fast car to run that kind of time. So, I need to get the story on that car before I get out of here. And then in a small block, Sean Stanford from, I think, Solid Tech Performance he's got his 2020 Camaro. He's looking to reset the record that was set by Matt Coding in 2023 for in a small block. But currently, he ran a 957 at Tulsa and then a 965 at the Motorplex. So, he's way ahead of that average. So he would have to do something wrong to fall down half a second. But it's drag and drive, man. That's the way it is.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's a NA small block car, which is really kind of cool. It's a LT based, 2020 Camaro.
Nice. Looks like we've got a stick shift class too.
Actually, yeah, I want to give a shout out to John Daughtry, who's in second place in the NA big block. He was the NA big block winner at the circuit and running about the same times. He's literally behind by 019.
Oh man.
0.019 average. So this race today will make the difference on whether he is still back there. And what's crazy is he put a head on the car on the side of the road, him and his son, he put the carburetor stud come out of the carburetor and fell down into the engine and basically destroyed itself. And they fixed it on the side of the road. But when he said it broke, they actually pulled off and were in behind a tree line, so nobody saw them.
Oh no.
Yeah. So he's like, it's probably fine. He said they had the tools to fix it and all that kind of stuff. So they told that story last night on when they recorded the Gearhead Perspective podcast. So kind of a cool story there. But he's behind Bob Ruppel by 0.019 average right now. So that's a good race to watch in the NA big block. Stick shift. Bill Armstrong was looking at parts earlier, so it needed something. I think they got it fixed, wheel bearing, and he's back on the road and looks to be able to make it here before the night closes.
Gotcha.
Ultimate Radial, Brad Thiessen and Ricky Daniels have swapped places now. Brad's ahead by 0.07, essentially 0.069, whatever. Those are two of the other cars that are in the sevens. So currently we have Brad Thiessen, Ricky Daniels, and Clint Sadowski in the sevens. They're all in the same Ultimate Radio class.
Oh man.
Yeah. So going to be a pretty tight race. Like right now, Brad's average before tonight's stuff is 781, Ricky's is 788, and Clint's is at 803. So that I would say that class is still up, for anyone to take it as they want it.
Yeah.
Rowdy Radial's been pretty awesome to watch. Donovan Linwood, 518 on Monday, and then a 525 yesterday. And then Aaron Schaefer's got that car coming around a lot. 535 on Sunday, and then he ran a 523 with an 8 yesterday, and then came back later in the night, used his fast pass, and ran a 522 with a 5.
Wow.
Yeah, so those cars are close. Everybody else is kind of back. Another call out from a racer in that group is Mark Grote with the Gremlin, that bright green Gremlin.
Yep.
He they swapped 4L80s on the side of the road, and then went to Jake's Performance with Mark's old 4L80 and rebuilt it and put it back in the car. But when he got to the track, something with the line pressure was off, and so he couldn't make a full pass. So he had to turn in almost an 8-second eighth mile pass.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that he was in competition. He ran a 5:23 on Sunday, and then turned in an 8. So I mean, he's fourth place out of 5,
Yeah.
or fit. Sorry, yeah, he's fourth place out of 6 racers. Sorry, and that's Rowdy Radial. Right, Limited Streets pretty open. What's the other one? There was another race in here that was close. I can't remember. It's probably motorcycle. How about this right here? You ready to hear this?
Are you looking
12
at the
motorcycles.
motorcycle?
12 motorcycles, man.
Yep. I'm just looking at that tab now. I was gonna say it looks like
Yeah.
this is kind of close here in the top few.
Yeah. So you got Shane Werner with the 21. I think it's a GSX-R 750, right?
That I'm
I
not
think
sure.
so. I think so. But it's a 971 average with, it's got 2 cute little adorable nitrous bottles on it.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah, and then Donovan Leader's in behind him with a 989, and then third place is Pete Chongris on a '01 Gixxer 1000 with a 991 average.
Man.
I followed Pete down. We went down. It wouldn't be Rocky Mountain Race Week without a little bit of dirt road action, and so we were going down that when we were going to Force Performance, so it must have been Monday, and Pete was just right in front of me riding that motorcycle, and this road had been freshly graded, and so it was really, really. I don't know if you could say loose or whatever the rocks were, but it was like almost like a sand dirt mixture. Man, that guy was struggling to get down because anytime you try and put any kind of you know throttle down, it would spin, and
Oh
then the
yeah,
front would get loose if he was going too slow. So it's pretty cool.
that's wild. All right, well, we're kind of talking about event updates already a little bit here with this, so let's go ahead and we'll do the driven racing oil ad read here. I'll go ahead and jump in and do that, and then we can talk a little bit more about what's going on at Rocky Mountain Race Week.
Perfect.
So, why gamble with performance or protection when you get proven results from driven racing oil? Trusted by top engine builders, winning racers, and devoted horsepower enthusiasts around the world. Driven takes legendary base oils, such as the ones from Bradford, Pennsylvania, which comprise their GP1 line. Then, Driven boosts that superior base with state of the art additive packages. Driven's GP1 Nitro 70 not only provides anti wear protection, but can even shield cylinders from washout and fuel dilution caused by using methanol or nitro based fuels. Learn more about Driven Racing Oil by following them on Facebook and Instagram at Driven Racing Oil, or shop now at drivenracingoil.com.
I know that's
So, so, uh, so I know you were talking a little bit about going different route stops. So what's been some of the cool route stops that you've been on so far this week?
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about that, but let's talk about Carl Steamy's comment here. He updates on the father son that were in the horrendous wreck earlier in the week. Matt is doing good. Obviously, just broken leg, kind of banged up a little bit. The last I heard, Bob is going to be, they're going to have some rehab, some things like that. Broke one leg in several places. That's going to be kind of tough. And then they were keeping him for a few days. So, big shout out to Carlos Astor, who left the race to go get Matt's truck and trailer in Tulsa and go get the car. The police were going to release it to them so they could go ahead and get it back home. And then Nick Robinson was Carlos's co-pilot, and so they'll get Matt's car back to the house, and then they'll get Obviously all that stuff set up, and then Carlos will pick him up and everything like that. So that's the last update I have. I haven't been able to spend much time on social media because of the driving. And for folks that are watching this, not on the podcast, if you're on the podcast, you need to go over to YouTube right now. The Chevelle in the other lane there is so nice. It's a huge blower car. It looks amazing. Anyway, sorry, route stops. So we stopped today at the Giant Leg Lamp in Chickasha, Oklahoma, which is
Yeah.
kind of fun. And a lot of racers were kind of piling up there. That was kind of a fun, I guess, route stop, hangout area for a little while. I had a really nice gift shop, and the AC was blowing super cold in there. And then everybody ended up on the side, kind of just hanging out. I would say there were 10 or 15 cars there at any given time. People kind of rolling through, and it was so hot. And we were there at like 2:30, and I thought, oh, we're 30 minutes from the track, and it took 2 hours to get to the track after we
Oh
started talking
man.
and all that. So yeah, that was a good one. Kind of the impromptu this morning was Bucky's. Everybody was Texas Motor Speedway was a route stop, and Bucky's is right across the street from that. And so everybody was. I think I probably took 40 or 50 pictures just at Bucky's of cars, getting gas and hanging out with everybody and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been kind of fun. I haven't spent a ton of time at the route stops just because it's been one so hot. Um, but then two, just trying to get somewhere so we could get set up and get doing some work for the speedway, which has a big race this weekend, and doing some work for the raceway park on upcoming events. So my time management has not been great. I don't feel like on this one. So
Well, speaking of, you're actually going to be leaving tonight, right, to go on to another event?
yeah, after this live stream, I'm gonna make a lap of the pits, which will take me probably an hour and a half, and then I'm jumping in the car and driving to St. Louis. So, yeah, for a Midwest Drag Race Series event, pro mods and funny cars are way different than street cars. I would probably rather stay here. These are my people, but we gotta go take care of them too. So you get to see our buddy Daniel Green, Danny Diesel, and hang out with all them and watch those cars. So
Yeah, you're a busy man.
I'm telling you, we're trying, man. We're trying.
So you left when on Saturday?
Left Sunday morning at like 6 a.m.
Okay, and then you're
Yeah.
probably going to get home Sunday, Monday?
I'll get home Sunday night. It's only about 6 hours from the track to my house, so
Okay.
I'll get up Sunday morning and leave around 8. One car I do want to give a shout out. It's actually here doing the burnout. This is kind of a neat Camaro. The guy built it. It's an 850 car. It will eventually run 850s with it. It has the big motor in it. But in high school, he built a 305, and that's what's in this car. And it
Oh,
runs
really?
like low tens. It's got the turbo for his 850 deal, all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of a neat car, but a lot of really interesting cars that are here that I just, man, there's so many. 316 cars started the event. So you
Yeah.
can imagine trying to get around to that many different cars and people and all that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So who else is there for media? I know I've seen Tim Gurley, who I hung out with
Yeah.
at the circuit.
Yep.
Who else is there?
Yeah. And one thing that's cool about Tim is he's actually Stoney's co-pilot.
Oh,
So
really?
he's getting the full experience this time. He's not just doing media, which is great. So he's in they're in Stone Cypher's coupe Corvette, like a 2003 or 5 or something like that body style C5 Corvette with no AC, and it's black. So they're getting the full treatment. And then we got Chris Story obviously is here. Jesse Fox is here with 3G Video. We've been hanging out today a lot. High Speed Media, James Shower and his team are here. And then who else? Cole Reynolds is here. Richard Burns has followed along for one of the first times. Typically, we see him here at Thunder Valley, but he's been with us all week so far, so that's kind of awesome. And then
Man,
yeah, it's a bunch of folks here, bunch of folks.
yeah, that's cool. Those should be tons of photos
Yeah,
from this event, which is always exciting.
yep, yeah, that's for sure. And you can see kind of racers that are gathering up here. You got Jim Parkinson down there. You got Chris Story down there wearing a circuit shirt. Come on, Chris, I appreciate the support for sure. And then Stoney's down there as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see them from where I'm at, but
Yeah.
you've got the bird's eye view there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
So
This track is
racing,
Go ahead.
oop, so racing starts at what'd you say about 3 o'clock,
Yep.
and it goes until when?
Well, so we've ran till midnight on Sunday, and it was probably 11:50 when they stopped running cars last night. So it's only
Okay,
supposed to go till about 10. But what they've been doing is they'll get kind of that first round of cars through, and then because of the heat, they'll go ahead and take a break, prep the track, and then they'll run, on into the night with that stuff. So there's been some folks that have gotten a lot of passes, but there's been others that have only gotten one pass per night because they missed their class call or something like that. The first night, we really didn't even have an opportunity to run an open run because of the heat and the time trying to get everything, you know, to keep people from having heat strokes and stuff.
oh man,
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. And just for the folks that are here on site that are listening to this, I mean, definitely hydrate. I know Adam's been saying it all day, every day, but like you can't drink enough water in this kind of heat.
yeah. All right, well, I think be a good time here. Let's. Do you want to read the Molly ad read, and then we'll talk about a few more things, and then maybe we'll bring on Chris.
Yeah, perfect. We'll do that. Attention high performance enthusiasts and racers. Meet the Molly Motorsports Power Pack Kit, your ultimate solution for power packed performance. The Power Pack pistons are made from either 4032 aluminum alloy to allow for tighter cylinder to wall clearances and improved temperature stability, or 2618 alloy to allow for increased detonation resistance. Tailored for various engine families from small block Chevrolet to Volkswagen and Audi, Molly has you covered. What sets them apart? Forged pistons, graphite coating, and phosphate treatments for peak performance and durability. Elevate your ride with Molly Motorsport, where performance meets precision. Unleash the power within. Visit mollymotorsport.com for details. And for the podcast listeners, Molly is spelled Mahle. And
Yes.
yeah, just as a reminder, Molly is our co-pilot spotlight sponsor, and you've got to take the chance to jump over there. I know there's a lot of co-pilots that are saving the day during this event, running waters and taking care of things and sliding under cars, fixing stuff.
Yep.
We saw Catherine Doyle in the engine bay of Walter Doyle's Chevelle on a picture he posted earlier today. So, give a shout out to your co-pilot, please.
Yeah, I just dropped the link into the chat there. So again, you go to dragdriverpete.com. There is a tab on the top for Molly Copilot Spotlight. Click that link. There's a handful of questions. Fill that out, and then that's one of our topics we get to talk about every week is how awesome some of these co-pilots are.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, I see your notes here about fast passes. I will say it's been a little all over the place this week. Obviously, Goldstone has ran in the sixes both days, but it's come at a struggle for him. They ran a 12-2 the first pass in the event, and then it was like a 9-8, and then Jason Hurley came out and ran a 7-7, sorry, Goldstone ran a 9-0, and then Hurley ran a 7-7, and we were wondering if they were going to be able to get back up, if Goldstone was going to be able to get back up and make another pass. And that's when he turned in his fast pass on Sunday night, which is, I don't know, that's kind of a gamble, right? Do you use your pass early in the week to get that baseline? But he couldn't have taken a 1.3 second. He couldn't have been behind at that point behind Jason by that much.
Yeah.
Now,
So
it would have been fine, but
Yeah. So for the people maybe that are watching, I assume most people watching probably know about the Fast Pass, but maybe people
yeah.
listening on the podcast might not know what this Fast Pass is. You want to kind of explain that a little bit so they know what we're talking about?
Yep. So instead of like a quarantine area or something or an open lane for the class leaders, Matt gives every racer a fast pass at the beginning of the week, and you can use that at any time during the week, and that gives you right up to the lanes to get your pass done whenever you turn that in. So it is kind of a gamble because if you're only going to get two passes because of oil downs or something like that, and you use that, that's how Goldstone was able to get three passes on Sunday night. So, and there's been some other racers that have turned those in, and it's worked for them. I mean, it is a gamble to do that with, but a lot of times that's the chance you take.
Yeah, because you only get one for the entire week.
Yeah, just one.
So if you use it on Sunday, the first night of the event, that's it. Your fast pass is gone.
Yeah.
And we got Cole Reynolds in here.
No, nice. Yeah, other fast passes of the week. We're looking Donovan Linwood, obviously with the 5:18 quickest pass of Rowdy Radial of the week. Yeah, Cole Reynolds was up here with me earlier.
Ah, very cool.
He's in the floor right here. Hang on. He's been listening to me the whole time. Yeah.
You didn't even know he was behind you?
Nope. I thought he was out on the. I thought he was outside working.
Oh, that's funny.
That's pretty awesome. He said he doesn't work. We know that's a lie. That's one of the hardest working dudes in media, especially for drag and drive stuff. Yeah, other fast passes. Brad Thiessen, they've got that car figured out. They've made a couple passes, but where I'm sitting, I can't see the scoreboards from here. But I know they've made at least one since I've been sitting here on the show tonight. So I'm sure they're looking for sevens again. Again, that's the ultimate radio class, and 3 guys in the sevens for that class. So that should be a pretty fun race to watch throughout the rest of the week. Because
Very cool.
we have tonight, and then you have tomorrow at Mocan. So that's going to be kind of a hard drive for these guys. So we have 300 miles almost today that we drove. Then it's almost another 300 tomorrow to Mocan. So you got 2 more. If you haven't made your pass tonight, you got tonight, and then you got Mocan, and that's going to set your average for the class wins and all the class standings, I guess, class standings. And then Friday they go into the races. So, but they have to make that final drive to be able to say they completed the event. So,
Yeah, so there's still quite a few miles left to be driven.
oh yeah, for sure, almost. Well, I mean, probably almost 450 miles left.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty intense. So I think when I pulled in here, I was 840 miles for the week so far, and that includes the 100 from my house to Tulsa.
Man.
Yeah.
The little Saturn rockets racking up the miles, huh?
I'm telling you what. I'm telling you what.
Uh,
And then today, sorry, just real quick. Today, I put my little OBD2 reader in to see what kind of temps, especially after everybody talking about oil temps. Well, I have a trans temp sensor in that deal, and the trans temp was at 212 degrees in the little Saturn.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
Speaking of the little Saturn, I was editing pictures from the historic Auto Museum route stop on Six Summer, and I have a great picture of you driving in the Saturn rocket. So
oh man,
all those photos should be up likely tomorrow evening ish. So I think there's about 350 pictures that will end up getting posted from that.
just from the route stop.
Just from the route stop.
Holy moly, man! It was a great stop though.
Yeah,
Like
it was a lot of fun.
everybody was kind of ready.
And that'll
Uh,
put me to the last day, so day 5, which is my biggest amount of photos that I have to go through. There's almost 2,000 photos just from day 5.
Man, that's intense.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Well, I suppose we should probably thank everyone, and then we'll probably hit the Howard's Cam video, and then we can bring Chris on if Chris is ready.
Yep, I think that'd be great.
All right. Do you want to thank everybody?
Yeah, for sure, guys. Thank you so much for being our race car friends. You cannot do this without everybody support and the shares and the likes and the comments and all that kind of stuff. I'm telling you, at 3:48 a.m. last night, I needed those comments because it was pretty tough being awake at that point. And of course, our sponsors that make all of our travel and everything possible: Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, who's here on site, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, Howard's Cams, Performa Built Transmissions, and WAF Racing, who's going to be on here in just a minute. Sweet Patina, Racing Junk Classifieds, and then PowerTube TV. And then, the gentleman's agreement. You want to run through that and tell everybody what that is?
Yeah, so you guys probably hear this from us every week, but it's something that's important. We're going to continue doing what we do. We're going to cover events like Mike being at Rocky Mountain Race Week right now. You're getting a view of some cars going down the pass. But but we need you guys to give us a like, a share, subscribe, all that stuff, so that we can continue doing what we like to do. So that's a gentleman's agreement. We're going to hold our end, and we're going to hope that you guys hold your end too. So like, comment, subscribe, share all this stuff out. We appreciate that as always.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, let's bring Chris on because
Let me
Chris.
hit. Let me
sorry.
hit this. Let me hit this
Oh,
last
yeah,
video.
hey,
We'll do the Howard's Cam video, and then we'll be ready to jump in.
You're the man.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend, Luke B, for your next valve train upgrade.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. All right, are we ready to bring on Chris?
I think so.
All right, let me pull him up real quick. Get him in here. There we go. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh man, I'm
We are
sitting at
good.
an hour at a racetrack watching racing. I'm doing great.
Yeah, it's been nearly 100 degrees all week here in Nashville, and it's hot not racing. So I can't imagine what you guys are going through. Been following on social media, and
Yeah.
that's pretty insane.
Yeah, those guys have really been putting it to the test. I told them earlier, I don't know how they're doing it. To be honest, it would be too tough for me to be out there in a race car. I would have to be driving at night and then get to the track and just Uber to a hotel somewhere or something.
Yeah, I don't. Kudos to those guys. I hate the guys hearing about the guys having trouble, but it's fun to follow along. I don't know that I'm ready for that level of drag and drive yet. It might be a year or so till I'm ready for this level of seriousness.
for this level of heat. Yeah, because you've done several. You've done Jeff Kurtzer saying the Nashville hot chicken.
Yep, there it is. Still recovering from the circuit, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say you've done the circuit, you've done Sick Week. That's actually where we met, and
Drag Week the week before, the year before, and Sick Week as co-pilot in 23. I guess that's kind of what got me really kind of hooked on the sport, going with my buddy as his co-pilot, and I just thought this is pretty cool.
Yeah, anytime somebody participates in these, it really, I'm telling you, it's the best community that I've ever been involved in.
I would agree. I've been doing Hot Rod Power Tour with a big group of friends for maybe five years or so. So been getting used to, getting a car ready for an old car, a hot rod for an old trip and or a long trip and dealing with overheating and the stresses that come with that. But the drag and drives are a level above. It's a good working vacation.
That's for sure. Yeah, it's not a vacation at all. Like it's real work. But when you're done, you want to sign back up and go do another one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be at 666 later this year. I would have loved to try to do 6 Summer, but they do a Hot Rod Power Tour and 6 Summer at the same time, I guess. So I couldn't abandon my buddies for Hot Rod Power Tour. That's been a long-standing thing. So maybe next year there'll be different weeks. Yeah,
definitely. Well, let's talk about Power Tour for a minute and just kind of go through some stories of what you guys ran and what you drove and all that kind of stuff.
So I'll show you the big fancy, I got my fancy camera here that I can rotate. So we finally got the old CUDA going. And if you successfully complete, yay is your prize, a cool metal sign for the garage.
That's awesome.
But no, I had a good time. It was, we made out well this year. It was 2 of the stops were close to home near Nashville. Bowling Green, Kentucky, and Nashville, Tennessee. So we kind of got to camp at home the first 2 days and had some pool parties with friends the first 2 days, and then we hit the road for to Louisville on Wednesday. And where do we go after that? Columbus on Thursday and Indianapolis on Friday.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's stayed pretty close to your region, I would say.
Yeah, not too bad. Round trip for me was about 1,200 miles for the whole thing, get home. So it was a good test. The CUDA has a new motor in it. It's been a 2-year kind of ups and downs drama with the Mopar there. So it's nice to get the new engine off the dyno a few weeks before Power Tour, get it in the car, debug it the best we could, and then hit the road. And it ran great. We beat on it. We horsed around. We kind of cruised with the guys from the Mopar Connection magazine. I don't know if you've ever any Mopar guys might know who they are, but he's got a pretty rowdy 69 Charger, and another guy's got a 67 Belvedere, and we had a good eclectic group of Mopars and GMs and stuff, and it was fun. Hit roadside pubs, get some beers, watch the cars go by. It's good fun.
Yeah. And did you guys were you going to racetracks, and how many cars were there?
Yeah, day one in Bowling Green, they had the track open, so you could run your cars, but it was, there's not really any prep. Everyone's on a street tire, and it's nearly 100 degrees, so I didn't take the car down the track. But there's about 7,000 cars this year, so if you've got a car that can run good highway speeds, it's like a good rolling car show, because if you take the route, you can just blow by everybody and see everybody. But you get to these venues, and they're just fields and fields of cars.
That's a lot of cars. 7,000 cars. I can't even imagine that. I don't even understand that.
And it's
Right.
Some of the venues do a better job than others getting all the cars in, because you've got a 6-hour window to roll in and get your stamp. The same vendors are kind of traveling with the route the whole time, but once you're there, you want to get in, get your stamp for your long hauler, so you can get your cool plaque at the end. But day two is at Nashville Super Speedway. They had a drift course and autocross set up, so guys could go out and do some autocross in their cars. Up in Louisville, I don't think there was any racing in Louisville. That was at a fairground. And then in Columbus was can't remember the name of the track, but it's where the Mopar Nationals are, and that's a drag strip. So they had racing up there in Columbus, and then Indianapolis. Again, I'm terrible with track names, but it was at a drag strip as well, so you were able to get on the track there too. But it was pretty fun. Nothing. The worst thing I had happen to me was my trunk latch came loose, so I put the key in the trunk, and I heard kerclunk, and I couldn't get at my trunk, so we had to pull the back seats out of the car and find the longest screwdriver we had and try to finagle the trunk open through my luggage and tools and stuff. One of the guys in our group was horsing around with us on the street and blew a belt off his car, so he lost and shredded a belt. So that's a bad day.
Yeah, that's no fun. What's the power plant in the CUDA?
It's a 408 small block Mopar, and it's ported by top end ported and cam designed by a local shop here that a buddy owns. But
nice.
Kind of trying to make a good balanced street strip car. We've taken about 200 pounds out of the front of the car and still keeping it a street car. Made about 560 horse on the dyno, and I'm hoping with me it weighs around maybe 3,300 pounds.
Oh, that's awesome. That'll be a train. That should be rowdy.
I think so. I really want to get it.
Burnouts and ice cream?
Yeah, it definitely does burnouts, and it's good to get an ice cream. I'd like to get it dialed in for 11.5s, and I think it'll do it. We throw people in the backseat all the time and stuff, and I don't really want to put a cage or a 6-point bar in it. So 11.5s will probably be what the car dials in for. Maybe a couple hero runs here and there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. Because the hard part about a bar setup and throwing folks back there is like, how do you get over or under it?
Right.
Yeah. It's maybe one day I'll be more serious minded after a few more successful events and want to build something faster. And we have another project car that I think we're going to try to shoot for high 9s in, but that'll probably be a 1 to 2 year project till that car's done.
Nice.
But so in the meantime, I just want this Mopar to live. The old fire chicken over my shoulder has a small block Chevy in it that sat in the field for 30 years in the car, and it survived 3 drag and drives and 1 hot rod power tour, and you can't kill it. It ain't fast, but you can't kill it.
Right. And hey, consistent, and it makes the drives. That's what's up. That's where it's all. And
makes loud noises, has side pipe. It's cool.
Right. And so that's why we met, because you're working on the carburetor. So is the CUDA carbureted or is it fuel injected?
They're both carbureted.
Nice. KCL, keep carbs alive, right?
Keep carbs alive. In my work life, I'm so connected to technology all the time, and I'm on the computer all day. Besides wanting or enjoying carburetors, I really just like not having to mess with a computer while I'm on these trips. I don't even bring one. Not for work, not for the cars, not for nothing.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I would think it would be if you work in technology and stuff all day and the stuff you do, right? I would think you would just try and be next level engineering some system for that. Like now you've got, oh man, I'm going to help Holly develop new parts and pieces for this. But I think that's really a good thing because it gives you a break from that kind of.
Yeah, I'm not that smart, Mike. I'm making screwdrivers over here and stuff. So.
Well, you want to talk about a little bit of that stuff?
Yeah. First of all, I guess I should start with this. Thank you for allowing me to partner with you guys. And it's really exciting to be a sponsor of the show and collaborate with you guys. It's the first company we've worked with like this for WAF Racing, being a new company. And, I credit you for a good chunk of the success we've had, meeting you at Sick Week and selling some of our products. So I'm excited to be here, be part of your guys' show, support you. Hopefully that can grow over the years as I grow and as our company grows and you guys grow.
We appreciate that for sure. It's awesome to have a person that is committed to drag and drives like you being into, you understand. And that's one of our biggest things with, bringing in sponsors. It's like, we want folks that understand. We're not just looking for a check. We're looking for somebody that knows what people are going through in this and then can create products or services around that,
Yeah, and help the racers.
Yeah.
Well, for all the guys who enjoy carburetors out there, we've got some interesting things that we've worked on. So if you'll allow me to, I'll run through the gambit of the stuff we've sold a lot of, and I'll show some new things that we're going to be releasing here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. Eric, do you want to put him up full screen? We'll let him have it.
Yep, let's do it.
Cool. So this is what you saw back in Sick Week, is our carburetor hat. It sits on top of a carburetor here. You can put your bowl bolts in, put your jets in there while you're doing a jet change, stick some tools in here, and then this spark plug holder, you can use it sitting on your bench, labeled front and rear, so you can keep your spark plugs in order, but it also indexes and sits on your carb cover. So, any carburetor working tray cover I've had in the past is just so clunky and big that if you're actually working on the carburetor or the top end of the engine, they're always more intrusive than helpful. So this idea was dreamed up with my buddy Matt, who I co-piloted with in 23, coming back from Sick Week, trying to keep each other awake on a 12-hour drive home. And came up with this and our screwdriver, which I'll show next.
Yeah, for sure. And this is actually what I think Matt Blasco was like, hey, you got to show him this piece. And then that's when all of this started.
And for the real fast guys with the big guy carburetors, we do have the 4500 guy, flange guy, which is magnitudes larger.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Works the same way. Plug holder will, sit on the thing.
That's cool.
Let me try this fancy camera and see if it'll zoom in a little bit. Because I know when you posted a video, it had all sorts of commentary on how this screwdriver works or is supposed to work.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Being an
That's
engineer,
pretty sweet.
Yeah, this little camera is not too shabby.
Yeah, I see that.
So being an engineer, I may tend to overthink things at times. And as I was learning tuning carburetors 3 or 4 years ago from my buddy, keeping my idle screws all set equally as I tuned one in always bothered me that I was just looking at a screwdriver and eyeballing it. So what we came up with is this 2-piece screwdriver that, let's see, has some increments on it. You can see there's almost like a gun sight on it here. And when you turn it, you see the shaft turns. So it lets you make accurate 1/8 increment turns. So you put that in your screw, turn it once, go to the next one, turn it once, come around, turn it once, turn it once. So, for me personally, I always start my screws at 1.5 turns out. So there's 8 increments on this. So I'll click it out, 8 clicks is 1 revolution, and then 4 more would be 1.5. I do it on all 4 screws. And then I start and go in an 1/8 turn at a time on all my screws until I get that idle where it needs to be to make the car happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Raj was the first guy to buy one of these at, I guess it was at Drag Week last year. I was just trying to give the things away to get feedback from people. And I met Raj in the parking lot. We ended up drinking some beer and talking, showed it to him. He said, I'll buy one. And I said, well, you can have it. He said, I'm a big boy. I can buy it. And then his buddy bought one too. So he was my first sale.
That's
and
awesome.
and after playing with it for about 2 seconds, he said, I really like it, but you need to redesign it. He doesn't like the fact that it works with 2 hands, that you hold this part fixed and turn the back. So we now also are about to release the Raj version, which he believes we should call the Pro version, which is still works very similar as a 2-piece screwdriver, except this one, it's 1-hand operation. So the front half of it turns the screw. So for guys who are a little more experienced with a steady hand, can come up to a carb a little easier in one click, without having to get 2 hands up there around the carburetor. I'm learning to love this one. I still like using our original design, but I'm been using this one a lot lately. And that, as your hand gets steadier at tweaking these motors, but guys like Raj and serious racers who are making tweaks up at the line and doing stuff like that all the time, that's what they want. That's why we like feedback from folks. Is even though we may think we have a great idea, it's sometimes it's only kind of great, and the feedback makes it great. So.
Yeah, and what I like about that is it gives you the opportunity to collect a bunch of data, right? Because that's where I get a little nerdy and stuff, is trying to figure out, hey, it ran this with this 4 clicks over here and 4.5 clicks over here,
Yeah. So from that, Raj was actually at I think it's NMCA. Correct me if I've got the wrong acronym. The race up in Bowling Green, maybe 3 weeks ago. He was working the event up there, and I was able to scoop him up from Bowling Green to come hang in Nashville for the day and showed him some of the other tools we were working on. And we brainstormed and had a couple beers and came up with the rest of a set that we're about to release. Meant to be a really compact tool set for anything that you'll need to adjust a Holly. So eliminate a bunch of heavy wrenches and big tools to do everything you need on a Holly. We've been testing the tools for a bit now, and we're happy with the tools. We just need to dial in a carrying case for it. But I'll give a brief run through of what all these do.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So what we got here is one. This is for doing your float bowl bolts. So, I mean, you really don't need a lot of torque on these things. So, I mean, this is a simple T-handle to do your bowl bolts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nothing super fancy, but you don't need a ton of torque on these things. Anyone who's got an old carburetor that's been around the block probably has helicoils in it, potentially, depending on guys overstripping them. So this is one of the guys, and you'll see he's very shiny at the top because we've learned that not all Hollies are created equal. Some have this bolt's a lot closer to the fuel inlet than others, so it gave us the reason to add a lathe to the shop to turn these nut drivers down and get them to make sure they fit every Holly.
Nice. So how many Hollies does your shelf include now?
I think 6. 2, one in each car, and 4 random ones. This one got pulled out of I don't know where this came from. I think this came with the 70 Roadrunner I bought. Nice. It's all covered in crud, but it's good for demos.
Yep.
Other guy we got is a screwdriver that is meant for let me get it on screen, your squirter here, your accelerator pump nozzle. So it fits, which I know you can't see down in here, but guys who know Hollies know what I'm doing. Getting the squirter out of here. So other side of the screwdriver, when we get back on screen, is made to fit your fuel sight plug. So this fits this. And we spent a lot of time dialing in screwdriver bits, flathead especially, so that you don't tear up the screws on here. Because even this carburetor is all, can't really see it, but it's all chewed up. Pretty typical you see on these things that some undersized flathead is used and chews up the brass. So we got that guy. The other tool that we have that I think is pretty cool is this little flat wrench and this little thumb screw looking guy. So he's made for adjusting your accelerator pump spring. Let me move this. So just a little 3/8 wrench. Again, this is not a high torque thing. So instead of getting 2 wrenches in there, it's just simply a thumb screw. Lets you really adjust to get this spring set easily on the carburetor here.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the other side of that too is like, what does that thing weigh? I mean, like you're not even a pound of all of it together.
Yeah, and the other half of this wrench is used for float level adjustment. So 5/8 up on here, and this guy
That's awesome.
used for adjusting this. Now, if you remember the old OxyClean commercials with Billy Mays there, but wait, there's more. The bottom of this guy is a square. The square is for your power valve. So you don't have to carry around that big freaking wrench for doing your power valves.
Man.
So you've got to use all this stuff to know you need all that stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Talk about a perfect like gift for your carbureted fan in your life.
And he's hollow on this side because that little thumb screw guy tucks inside of him for storage.
See, that's why you do what you do.
And the last little trick is this same screwdriver that fits the fuel level adjustment is also the perfect size for your jets. So for changing jets here.
That's awesome.
So really every adjustment you might need to make to a Holley carburetor, we're trying to make it so it fits in a compact carrying case. Because some of this stuff, you end up carrying a bunch of things, or you rob them out of your other toolkits, or you go and buy special tools.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are big. A power valve is like I can't remember offhand, but I want to say it's 13/16. So that's a pretty hefty size wrench just to do this little guy here.
Yeah, that is literally something you can do with your hands. I mean, that's probably hand tight, right? I mean, if I'm
not much more, you get it, a little more snug. So
wow.
We're finishing the design on the carrying case for it, so you can throw it in your toolbox, throw it in your glove box, or whatnot, and it'll keep everything tight. But we played with the tools all through Power Tour. Have a few guys playing with them. Raj took a prototype set home with them a couple weeks ago and gave some feedback and some tweaks. And yeah, this is going to be our new thing that's going to be available probably in 2 weeks. And I'll discuss with you after, but I was hoping to maybe offer maybe a discount code through the Drag Drive Repeat channel for guys who want to order this set.
That'd be awesome.
Why don't you threaten us with a good time? Looks like we got a break. So I'm gonna flip this around.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. What's the rough sizes of that kit?
It is about well, here's my finger. It's probably about
an iPhone.
4 inches. Yeah, actually, I carry an iPhone SE. All my friends pick on me. So
yeah, I mean that's a perfect comparison right there to see how small that case is and how much is stored in that little case. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks. And then something else coming down the pipeline is a master tuning kit to hold all your jets and squirters and power valves and everything. Something that's a little bit more organized and a little more compact than the gigantic, white box that Holley gives you for to hold your jet kit and stuff. We've got, let me say, we have a lot of things in the pipeline, which means I have a lot of unfinished projects. But this is one that's about to be released, and I think the organizer kit for master tuning kit for a Holley will be shortly behind it. So
yeah, I don't know much about carburetors, but I wouldn't think you're going to be carrying the tackle box. You're not going to need that many different jets. You're going to need 3, maybe 4 different jets, something like that.
Not if you're tuning your car. If you're tuning your car, you kind of know you don't need 40 sizes of jets. If you're a tuner and tuning everybody else's car, then you might carry everything. So that was kind of our thought process, is a compact kit that's like for your car that you take on the road if you're making tweaks, and then a master kit for just a master storage kit for storing, everything.
That's pretty awesome. And so tell us where people can find that stuff. Where can they see all of the updates and things like that?
Well, they can follow us at WAF Racing 23 on Instagram. WAF Racing on Facebook, and waf-racing.com is where the e-store is that you can buy these parts.
Nice.
And then I do have, if you allow me, a few other just random goodies to show. So other things we carry and make are things like heater hose organizer clips. I'm kind of a stickler for keeping things neat in the engine bay. So heater hoses drive me crazy when they're gangly and zip tied up and just kind of hanging everywhere. So these guys come in an array of different sizes for if you've got 5/8, 5/8, 5/8, 3/4, 3/4, 7/8. These can snap on along the way, keep them running parallel and nice and tidy together.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a million options for spark plug wire separators, but of course we like ours, and they're pretty cheap, and you can buy them a la carte, whatever you need. If you need 2 of them that are a 4-wire separator, and 3 of them that are a 3-wire, and 10 of them that are a 2-wire, they're pretty inexpensive. You can get them from our store and clip them all on. A lot of the other kind of stuff that we do is bracketry. We like dressing up cheap stuff. Like, you can get cheap aluminum catch cans and overflow coolant cans and things like that. But the bracketry that comes with them is just junk. It's always some sort of bent piece of metal with a big, ugly hose clamp. Mm-hmm. So, we sell these type of brackets that kind of have a hidden adjustment in them. I know it's kind of hard to see, and I'm spinning it around like crazy. But there's screws on the side right there. So that's your clamping mechanism to clamp it. You can bolt it, to your firewall, to your radiator support, whatever it may be. We make brackets like this in various sizes that are, nice to hold any sort of cylindrical can that you may need to mount. And then, a lot of our parts are plastic and 3D printed, but we do metal manufacturing as well. This is a very specific coil mounting bracket for a Mopar small block trick flow intake manifold, because that's what's on that car.
I was going to ask, how did that come about?
Yeah, that intake has nowhere to mount a coil like my old intake did, so we designed something. But that kind of speaks to most of us are engineers at heart. We're all racers, hot rod enthusiasts. We're into cars, bikes, and we have toys, and we use those toys and the technology to make things. So this started life by 3D scanning the intake manifold and the engine and making sure that things were going to fit the way we wanted. Then we designed this in the computer. Make the prototype and have it made and install it. And, I bake these parts underneath the hood of that black on black CUDA and underneath the hot chicken over there. And we durability test this material very often on my own cars, and it's tough. It holds up, and it looks pretty decent.
What kind of material is it?
It's a nylon with chopped carbon fiber in it. So it doesn't start to deform or anything until about, I think, 340 degrees Fahrenheit. And it, stays rigid. It doesn't get slimy on you. It doesn't start to goo over or anything. It's been a pretty nice material in the engine bay.
Very cool.
That's pretty awesome. I like that. And I like the thought of something that's pretty niche like that. I mean, I would think that's, you're taking a small block Mopar, and then you're also cutting it down by, another 70% of market share because of the looking for a certain intake. But I think that's really cool. And like, you have the ability to do that. Somebody has some ideas.
We like to design quirky niche stuff. What WAF Racing grows into, I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but it help funds a hobby. Those of us who work on these projects, we drive our cars. Not everyone's a racer in our group that works on them, but everyone drives their cars. Whether one of our designers, he's into Lotuses. He's got a Lotus Elise, and he drives the piss out of it. He's not a drag racer, but he likes to get on the road track. I like to cruise my cars as much, or maybe even more than racing them. One of the other guys is just a tech guru that's into vintage motorcycles and stuff, but he's got good ideas and adds to the team. So we all like to use things and do things and are functional, hands-on kind of guys. Here's another interesting one.
Definitely talk about this piece, because when we made the announcement, we had some shots of this, but this is pretty cool.
Yeah, so Mike Turner, Drag and Drive guy, you probably know him with his Dart. He had reached out to me about making some lightweight front fender extensions for his Dart. Factory ones are, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say 4 to 5 pounds a piece out of cast pop metal. So we 3D scanned them, brought them into the computer, made some tweaks to make them suitable for 3D printing, printed them out, and we're at a pound each. So, we shave somewhere from 6 to 8 pounds off the nose of a guy's car, which in a full weight, street car, maybe that's not a huge deal. But for the guys who are pushing the edge, 4 to 8 pounds means something to them. So,
Yeah.
products like this are something that we work on for customers. Sometimes just one-off. Sometimes we'll bring them to our e-store. But, yeah, unique stuff for racers and hot rodders that are one-off that want something specific for their project are pretty fun. We may or may not. There's my mom.
And I was just gonna
Hi,
say
Mom.
most of the products on your site are fairly inexpensive. Like, people aren't gonna spend a ton of money coming and buying these parts. So I think that's also good for people to know too. Like, I was just
Yeah.
looking at the website here, the carb covers $40, your screwdriver kits are $25. I mean, these are very affordable items for people to go pick up and stick in their drag and drive trailers or trunks.
I appreciate that. It's always been discouraging to me when you see something interesting and then you want to go buy it and go, oh, hell, it's not that interesting.
Yeah, I don't need it that much. Well, and I think that's part of the fun for you guys is that you're not doing this to pay the bills. You're doing this. It will become more than a hobby business. But as of right now, it's like, oh, hey, let me scratch this creative itch that I have because I have, I have an all day, everyday job.
Yeah.
So you listen, it's for fun.
Yeah. The income for WAF Racing helps feed these cars that are, behind me and get me to events. And I'm going crazy with the camera. But yeah, the main business is, we own I'm co-founder of an engineering firm here in Nashville, and some of us are just car nuts, so we spun off WAF Racing, and that's slowly evolving into being more of my time. I hope it evolves into eventually being my mostly full-time thing, because I really enjoy this area of design, working on the automotive projects for really racers and hot rodders who have a vision of what they want. Are cool stuff to work on.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We're working on some bell mouth and air filter housing things for some of the guys too that are quick change, so you can take them on and off of the turbo inlet. So we got a lot of interesting things that we've been contacted about that are kind of all in process.
I would say that's probably one of the hardest parts too. Is like everybody kind of has an idea of what they would like to see, and then now that they know they have somebody they can hit with those ideas, good luck, friend. They're gonna be coming to you.
Yeah, prioritization is challenging, and then it's the worst. The most unfun part of it is when you get a request for an idea of a guy that's just has an idea really, and you don't think it'll be very marketable. It's going to be a really one-off sort of thing. It's hard to prioritize something like that when there's not really money's involved. So sometimes those are challenging to get on the priority board, and ahead of some of the other stuff. But we definitely like all ideas and all feedback from people on the things that we already have released, so we can continue to make it better.
Well, let's talk about upcoming events. What do you got going on? I know you're doing 666. I'll be there for sure for several days. What else is going on? Where can people find you?
Yeah, we're doing 666. We're going to try to do it in the CUDA. I was supposed to do Midwest Drags, but I just don't have the time to get this car to the track before Midwest Drags is going to go. And it's honestly, July doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like a lot of fun either in the heat of July. And it's pool season and we have friends and family visiting. So we're going to forego Midwest Drags, unfortunately. But we will be at the Mopar Nationals in August. And then we're going to do Moparty this year in September in Bowling Green. And we're going to sign up for some of the race classes. And 666 prep, though, is the big one. Lily, my girlfriend who you met at the circuit, she's going to come along for it. So I'm excited about that, too.
Fun. Yeah, what's the list there? I can see trailer hitch.
Yeah, so I'm going to see if the car will stay cool with electric fans converted over. Our buddies at Mopar Connection just took a gear vendor overdrive off of one of their project cars after they TKX swapped the car. So we're getting a really good deal on a gear vendor. So gear vendor is going to go in it. We're going to start working on the design for the trailer hitch and the trailer. We've got some cutouts to install, and we've got to modify the mid pipes for the gear vendor. So we do the cutouts and the exhaust modifications all at once. We've got a shift light in there we need to hook up. We've got some super stock leaf springs to put on it, and I need to hook up the line lock that's in the car. It's plumbed, just not wired.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a huge list, but time goes pretty fast when you're getting ready for these events.
Well, I mean, if you start looking like that's an average of 1 or 2 nights per each one on that list. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
15 nights there you're looking at.
And it's not just, I mean, you've got WAF Racing, you've got your day job, plus you've got that list. And Mike and I know all about what that's like. I mean, I started tearing my car apart, and I haven't touched it in like 2 weeks now after I got way far into it. And I'm like, oh, this won't take long. And, same thing. It gets away from you quick.
It does, and that's part of the reason. That's my dad. That's one of the reasons too that I thought Midwest Drags was a little overzealous. Need to just focus on getting things done and getting this thing reliable. And they survived Hot Rod Power Tour, so that was a good first test. And just for cruising it and reliability wise. So I want to make sure she's good and comfy and everything works well for 666.
Yeah. Well, I've got the camera turned back around at the track, so the folks that are watching, they're fixing to spray, which means they're fixing to bring up the big cars. So I don't see any cars in the lanes yet, but have they started pulling in the lane? Is Gold still up there yet? Yeah, so typically they'll do like fast stuff. So we'll keep this on here going for a few minutes that direction. I know everybody wants to see my beautiful face, but everybody wants to see burnouts of big fast cars too. Well, that's
Nice.
awesome. So I'm excited about all the fun stuff we can do together. I mean, obviously, your engineering side of your brain really makes me begin to look at things differently. Like, hey, what can we begin to make or look at for the drag and drive community? What are parts and pieces that would make life easier for these guys and girls that are out here that are doing this? And you're talking about the heat. I mean, it was 102 here at the track when I arrived with a feel like temperature of 110. So it's pretty intense out here. So yeah, I think you're probably making the right decision on maybe dodging one of the events for the week. I know you're gonna be at Mo Party and stuff like that. That'll still be warm. And what was the other event in August?
The Mopar Nationals is
Mopar
up
Nationals.
in August in Columbus. It's a good.
Oh yeah, that
swap.
won't be bad.
No, that'll be good swap meet. Good, for us Mopar nuts, it's a good place to see a lot of cool cars. And
Yeah.
The other project car coming down the pipeline is a 70 Roadrunner basket case that I bought. So we'll probably be on the hunt for some parts and gonna try to do, like the social media thing and maybe keep a little bit of track of what we're doing with that car as we build it. But I'm horrible at the social media thing, so I'm trying.
Yeah, we've had long conversations about that as well. And I think for folks like you, I think it's fun, and for folks that are out here in the world, like I don't know anything about Mopar stuff. So, I'm gonna lean on you to learn a little bit that way.
I'll try to do better. Michael texted me during Hot Rod Power Tour and said, "Hey man, I know you're probably out there having a good time and stuff, but what the heck? You haven't posted once on Facebook or Instagram or nothing. How am I supposed to help support you?"
Yeah. Yeah, we love sharing sponsor posts, but yeah, we needed to see some of that content, man.
Yeah, and we had the Summit guys with us keeping the hot rodders alive.
Yeah.
Old Tommy there was taking care of everybody. I bought a couple parts for him from him while I was there, so it was good to catch up with him.
Yep. Yeah, those guys, man, I can't imagine putting that many events together and trying to figure out where the truck will need to go and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I felt bad for the 6 summer guys, but I was glad they were there at Power Tour.
Yeah. Well, and again, it goes back. They can't be everywhere, and the best way for them to be everywhere is for people to buy their parts from summitracing.com. And if you spend enough money there, then maybe they'll buy a third truck to go out and be at events.
There we go.
Yep. So we're working on something for the circuit 2025 to have, like some Summit products there or, Summit people there or something like that. So I'm excited to be able to hopefully release that in the next few weeks as soon as I can get the dates locked in for 2025. Nice. So, yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to your event next year. We had a great time. We're looking forward to seeing it continue to grow next year.
Yeah. Yeah. We're excited. We'll, if Keith, the the plan as of right now is to do Tulsa to Mocan to Tulsa, and then end up doing the racer party Saturday night in Tulsa because they have more go-kart options is all I'm going to say right now. So we're looking at all this stuff. I just got to get dates locked in, but it will definitely be April. So so put that on your calendar plans, everybody that's out there listening.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who's here in the lanes. I did see Bryant Goldstone ease around. Brian Robbins is back on the scooter, headed back towards the pits though in a high rate of speed. So I don't know what that means. Those guys again had a hard time. So how many people were in your group on Power Tour, and what all did y'all break?
There was maybe 6 or 7 of us. There was myself and my 73 CUDA. One of my oldest friends, Tinos, has a 66 Olds. Kevin Shaw from Mopar Connection in his 69 Charger. Another guy with a 67 Belvedere, which was a pretty cool big block 5-speed swap car. A buddy from up home in New York State had did an LS swap on an early 90s Ford pickup truck. And he drove it from Syracuse, New York, down to Nashville to meet us, and then did the whole Power Tour and drove it back to New York.
Nice.
That was his first Power Tour, and he was excited about it. And he left there saying he has to buy something cooler than an early 90s Ford pickup truck for next year. But he had a great time. Who else was in our group? That was the 5 core guys that did the whole thing together. The first 2 days that were local, there was like 12 or 13 of us all cruising together for the first 2 days because it was right near home, so a lot of guys were able to go. Oh, one of my buddies, Mike, he has a 65 Impala with its 327 4-speed car. He did the whole thing with us too. No serious breakdowns in our group or anything. We all cruised. I know for drag and drive guys who've probably never done hot rod Power Tour, it sounds lame, but it's stressful in a different way. It's a long cruise, and there's long waits to get into venues, and it tests your relationship with your friends just on where you're going to stop and eat, what time you're going to get up.
Now, with Power Tour, it's been so long. There's not like mandatory route stops. It's just get to the next facility. But there's like, hey, there's going to be stuff going on here, right?
Yeah, there's a published route. And if you take it, you see a lot of cars. And what's fun with Hot Rod Power Tour, because there's so many cars, people in these towns will be set up in chairs, and kids out of school, middle of the day, waving flags as you go through these small towns, and cheering the cars on and trying to get you to do burnouts. And that's one of the neat things about Hot Rod Power Tours, because there is so many cars, and I think because it's been around so long, even though I know all these events publish the route, it seems like for Power Tour, you see so many people out there, and it's pretty cool to see all out and get the taste of Americana, and people who really like the hobby, the hot rod hobby, and kids out there excited about it,
and dumping coolers. I'm sure there's probably never any water out on the road.
No, not at all. But there's no mandatory stops. There's a published route, but if you're having a bad day, you can hit the highway and get there if you want. But if you skip doing the route, you're really missing out on the essence of it. The venue is not the fun part. It's the same. The guys like Summit and everyone who are there all week, they're awesome, but the venue is not the exciting part. It's the cruise to get there. Yeah. Because they usually make it like a 5 or 6 hour drive if you do the route. And every gas station you go by, there's hot rods pulled in. Every diner, every bar, you're driving the route, you just see old cars everywhere, which is cool.
Yeah, we went in 2012 and 2013 when they came through Arkansas, and that was one of the funnest parts. Was you would pull into a restaurant, and it was like, there's 100 cars, and like the entire restaurant is race car friends. They're everywhere. Just real quick shout out here, Donovan Linwood, class leaders in the left lane. I know you guys can't see it, but you can watch the live stream for free on the Bang Shift YouTube channel. So if you want to jump over there, not right now, but jump over there and watch that. So kind of as we wind down for the show here, the plan will be we'll get through. If Bryant Goldstone makes his run, we'll keep you guys on here, and then we'll go from there. But so as you move that many cars through, what is y'all's plan? Like, did you all convoy together? Did you was somebody the leader? How does that work?
Well, you learn which one of your friends are good leaders and which ones are not good leaders. The guys who can't keep a pack together, that they pull out into traffic when there's room for 2 cars when you're in a group of 6, and then and some of the guys are not that I condone using your cell phone when you're driving anyways, but some guys aren't good at working their GPS very good in general, so they're dependent on the leader, and let alone, we've all driven old cars or race cars. It ain't like a modern car with CarPlay where you can just punch stuff in easy and see it. You might have a shaking phone in your hand, or you might shift a gear and it falls out of the holder, or you don't have a holder. It's so yeah, it takes a little bit of effort on the leader, and then what speed you go. I was the only one in our group who didn't have overdrive, but I was driving the fastest. So I'm not really sure how that worked. But even some of the guys with the older cars, they don't like to go over 70 or over 65, and so it's. You have those tense lunches for the first few minutes. Well, why did we have to run that fast? Where were we trying to go? And then, but it's a group. It's an effort to keep everyone together and keep everyone happy. You can't keep any group of 10 car guys together, all happy, all wanting to do the same thing.
No, that's for sure. So Jason Schaefer and like Reggie Moore, they're all hot rod guys, right? They have a group of 11 that are cruising together. And I can't imagine trying to keep that many guys together. Another big shout out for the class here. So Brad Thiessen, class leader here in the left lane, fixing to do a burnout here in front of us in Ultimate Radial. And then Jason King, longtime drag and drive racer in the right lane, currently, I think, like 4th place in Ultimate Radial as well. So I know you guys can't really see it because my little Amazon camera is really meant for like a desktop webcam, but I figure it's better to look at this stuff than look at me again.
I dig it.
Yeah, the Brad Thiessen's kind of a cool story. His son is his co-pilot. Usually his son's racing in this, but stepped into co-pilot this year for him and his dad. So it's kind of cool. I think he's having some troubles with some burnouts there too.
Yeah, looks like it.
Well, what haven't we talked about that we need to? Yeah.
I don't know.
Just about covered it.
Well, listen, Chris, I want to say thank you for putting up with me, man. I know I'm probably hard to get along with sometimes, as far as like when I'm asking a whole bunch of dumb questions, but I do appreciate you being such a good friend and obviously partner to the brand too. That helps us a lot, and we're excited to really kind of after this event kick off what I'm hoping will be something that's fun. I want to do like a random spotlight as part of the WAF Racing segment, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign a number to every racer that's completed a drag and drive, and on Mondays I'm just going to random.org and pick a number, and then we're going to have like 5 or 8 questions that I'll send to that racer, and that'll be our spotlight, I think, because that way we have no idea what we're going to get into, all the stories we're going to learn, and we're going to have a bunch of fun.
Is there a way where we can keep that like carb guys or prioritize the carb guys?
Man, I don't know. Maybe. Listen, I'm lucky enough to just get the data we do get. I don't know if we can dig it from there. Maybe we only do Pontiac Firebirds or Barracudas or Barracudas.
Yeah, you can really cut it down and go Mopar guys or something. Mopar carb guys. There we go.
All 8 of them.
All 8 of them.
Yeah, we can create another form survey and send it out for carb guys or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can talk about that though.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Well, guys, again, listen, Chris, tell them where to find you again. Tell them where to follow you and the website and all that kind of stuff.
Well, if you want to buy any of the interesting things you saw here, you can get on our website at waf-racing.com or wafracing.com. They'll both take you to the same spot. If you want to follow along with our shenanigans, you can find us on Instagram at WAF Racing 23 or on Facebook at WAF Racing. We're going to try to keep up with new products and ideas we're working on, and also some of the builds and getting ready for 666 and the new project as it starts to kick off over the summer. We're gonna try to keep all that stuff out there and do the social media thing and have fun and chat with people and make cool stuff and have fun.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where this can go. As we obviously you're a veteran drag and drive guy now, and I'm excited to see how it goes. The more you do in different cars and what neat things come up. I'm gonna put this up full screen because Brian Goldstone's running. I'll do the call down as we run here. But again, these guys have had a struggle this week so far, and this is their first time to do Rocky Mountain Race Week. So again, racing at night, first time for them. They're used to racing during the day, and as you could hear in the burnout box over me talking, they've been struggling a little bit with getting that car to come up like into building boost on the two-step, and it's died on the line like 2 or 3 times while they've been trying to make a pass. It'll start trying to come through. So maybe
Are you
they've got
able
a little
to
bit of that fixed.
Are you able to see the times from where you're sitting?
Yeah, I can see them from here. Just you wouldn't be able to see it in the
No,
camera.
no.
It doesn't
I
have
was
the
just curious to see
Yep.
what he runs or to hear what he runs.
Yeah. Earlier I couldn't see it because the way the sun was setting, but it's down in behind some trees now.
Looks like is it a solo run? I don't see anybody in the left lane.
Yeah, it's solo for this round. I mean, this car really has the capability to knock off a 10-year, overall ET record right here this week. So that's one thing. Larry Larson set the record in the first event of this, first time the running of this event with a 691 average, and currently, obviously, Brian Goldstone is less than that. So again, 450 miles left with the week, and a pass right here tonight. So he's got to lock up. Is he going to one and done? Is he looking for sixes every day? We don't know. They haven't really talked about that much right now. They've just been like, can we get through?
And he's off. Looks fairly clean off the start.
Yeah, spun about half track. Yeah, 875 at 120 miles an hour to tell you how far off he was.
Oof.
Yeah. So, sorry, let me flip this around here. All righty.
So he'll definitely be coming back around.
Oh yeah. The thing is though, we're not really like there's not an open run until the very last part of the night. So being 8:30, I was really hoping I'd be on the road by 9. So 530 miles from here to St. Louis, and I need to be there tomorrow by 2. I'd like to get some sleep in there in the middle of that somewhere.
Sleep.
Maybe a shower. You guys can't see, but there's watermarks all over this shirt for being out in it all day. All right, Chris, I'm going to put you backstage while we close this out. Stay with us because I would like to talk to you for just a minute, and we'll go from there. Thank you again for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yep. Dude, I want to say thanks to you, Eric, for editing all these videos, all the photos. I'm working diligently trying to get through a lot of the reels and posts and stuff like that through the next couple days. I think maybe I'll have a little bit of time to do that. But guys, thank everybody out there. I mean, it's really been, I really probably do have 6 hours of sleep since Sunday morning at 6 a.m. So
Yeah,
it's
rough.
been pretty tough, and it's going to be hard tonight to get in that car and drive. But hopefully I can make it till, if I can get to Missouri, I think I'll probably grab me a hotel room somewhere in Joplin or something like that, and stay there for 3 or 4 hours, and then jump up and make the last little run into to St. Louis. So again,
Yeah.
if you follow that stuff, Midwest Drag Race Series is where we'll be posting all that, and everything else you're going to see is right here where you're watching it right now.
Yeah, and we managed to go an hour and a half on shooting from the hip tonight. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot to go off of. We were kind of just going to wing it and see how it went, and I think it went pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you let me talk about stuff. Dragon, I can do it. All right. Well, if you'll send them out, thanking our race car friends and sponsors, man, that'd be awesome.
Yep. I was just getting ready to pull that up, but I lost it. 1 second. Where'd it go? All right, here we go. All right. Again, everybody that's been in the comments, that's been chatting. Thank you, race car friends. Everybody that's at the track right now. I know you guys aren't able to watch because you guys are making passes. So thank you. All of our race car friends, you guys help us keep moving forward on doing this every day. And thanks to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Driven Racing Oil, Molly Motorsports, Car Change 3D, Howard's Cam, Performabuilt Transmission, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk, WAF Racing. Obviously, we just saw Chris on here talking about all his awesome products. So for you guys, carb guys, make sure you head over there and check out some of his products. And last but not least, our media partner, PowerTube TV. Thanks, guys, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Yep. All right. See you guys.